Well, once again, thank y'all for having me. I've done a couple of Tech Tuesdays in the past, so I'm glad that Dr. Hale has allowed me to be on yet another one. Just because we have been working on a couple of projects, and we're talking about managing projects and managing the multitude of things that we have to go through. It can be hard to sort all of those out. I'm a big proponent of writing down lists and coming up with plans of action. So really that's what our goal for today is with Microsoft Planner. And I'm gonna also be talking about a couple other things. So uh let me get that PowerPoint working. There we go. So what our goals are for today is we're gonna do a little bit of a comparison between Microsoft Planner and Microsoft To Do. They're very similar, but there are some differences that I think might be beneficial for y'all to hear. Then we're going to go through the process of setting up a Microsoft Planner within your team of choosing. And then when I was creating this presentation, I'm always trying to think like, what are people going to have questions on? And I was 900% sure that somebody would say, Lindsey, I love Planner, but I need a way to get notifications for it. And I want those email notifications. So we're going to go into Power Automate, which is another Microsoft 365 tool. And I'm going to show you a little bit of what it can do, but then I'm also going to show you how to set it up in the context of y'all being able to use Microsoft Planner. So with that all set, and I see the time, uh, I will go ahead and move forward. Let's see. So first, what is the difference between Microsoft To Do and Microsoft Planner? So, and I have to thank the person who emailed me this question. She wasn't going to be able to make it today, but she had this question. She was like, I want a Microsoft Planner, but just for me. And that's really what Microsoft To Do is. Microsoft To Do is, again, in the 365 suite. You can actually pin it to your Outlook box. Um, and it's really for individuals. It's for yourself. What it does is you can create multiple different lists. You can set your tasks, give due dates, make it set alarms, etc. It also will pull tasks from your email. So let's say someone emails you and says, can you set up this meeting, or will you work on this document? It kind of picks up on those key phrases, and it actually will suggest tasks for you. They'll say, hey, you have this email that looks like it's something that they want you to do, and you can add it to your to-do list and follow up on that. So it's really good with maintaining any action items, but just for yourself. Microsoft Planner is more of a shared planner. It's something that operates within a Microsoft team. And then what you can do is within your team and channel, you can create the planner, and you can view it in different ways, but I like viewing it in this, what they call buckets. And so you can have multiple different buckets. Let's say you're working on multiple projects simultaneously, or I think I had somebody who said that they were working on multiple grants. So let's say you have multiple grants going on and you have to dos for each of them. You can assign those tasks under those buckets. You can also assign individuals to those tasks. So if you have 5 team members, but one person is in charge of one particular step, you can assign to that person that particular step. So again, they have sort of different scenarios for what they're working on, but both of them, you can create due dates for tasks. You can edit task names and steps. You can add files and notes to the task. And it's also all accessible within the Microsoft suite. So you can access it onto your web browser. You can access it on your SharePoint. You can access it through Teams. You can see it in your Outlook. You have many options of viewing this, so it keeps you all online and connected. Does anybody have any specific questions about the difference between Microsoft To Do and Microsoft Planner? And Rita, I do see your question. I'm acknowledging it. I will address that at the very end since it's a little bit off topic, but I do see your question. I will address it. Looks like nothing so far, no hands, so we'll go ahead and move on. Okay, so if you want a more involved presentation about Microsoft To Do, I actually did one. I think it was like a year and a half ago. But those past Tech Tuesdays, they are all on the internet now. We are so thankful for Chris and the whole team who have been working on the internet. So if you haven't bookmark that link into your web browser and be sure you have the internet on your web browser. It's going to be your one-stop shop for anything internal. The Tech Tuesdays trainings, they're literally on the front page. So all of them are reposted. You have full access to all of those trainings for y'all to watch at any time. They're just all been updated. So now that we have settled all of that, we're going to go ahead and go to the demo. So I'm going to move away from my PowerPoint. And I am going to show you my team. Now, does everybody see my calendar and my team's application? You should be able to see that.
Yes, yeah, we see it.
Awesome. Awesome. Let me make sure I have my chat open too. Fantastic. Oh, and thank you, Chris, for posting that link. I so appreciate you. Alrighty, so I'm actually going to go ahead and pick a team to create this in, and I'm actually just going to use our staff email. There doesn't look like, I believe this is all good. So, and actually, more specifically, I'm going to pick this since I know that there's nothing in here. It's completely blank. So, when you go into your team, you're going to click this top plus button. I'm gonna click right there. And what it should be one of the first things that pops up is this tasks by planner and something else. I think it's a name. Planner and to do. So we're going to create a new plan. You can also create an existing plan. So let's say you had another plan on this team and you just wanted to duplicate it. Like you have multiple teams and they all have very similar tasks. You can duplicate it. But for here, we're just going to create a new plan. And we're going to call this test. And we're going to let it load. All right. So this is what I'm talking about when it first gets started. There's not a lot of things here, but you see it already gives us one bucket, and then it says add new bucket. So like, let's say, for example, I have something with family and community health, and then I need to add another bucket for ag and natural resources. So you'll click right here. I'm going to call this ag and natural resources. And it creates a new like column, and they all operate on this column. And then we can even create one for 4-H. So you can continue to add as many buckets as you want. So from in there, it operates from here very similarly to Microsoft To Do. We can add a task. And so let's say this is turn in documents to Dr. Dodd. Let's say that. Something along those lines. So now if we click on the item created, let's say, Lindsey, I want to tag people. I want to edit it to where it makes a little bit more sense contextually. You can go in here. I can actually assign a person to this task. So like, let's say I need to assign Debbie to this task. I need Debbie helps with Dr. Dodd. So she would be the one handling those documents. I can assign her the tasks. Again, this is anybody within the team. So anybody who is operating within the team who has access to this can be tagged in this item. You can tag as many people as you want. Let's say this is a high priority item. This needs to get done pretty quickly, or this is urgent, like she needs to do this immediately. We can label it as such. We can pick a start time. Let's say that you're not going to be starting any document collection until, June 1st. So we can pick a start date. And of course we can pick a to-do date. So maybe by the end of the June, we need to have these documents in. You can even do repeating ones. Let's say it's something that gets done every year. Let's say maybe it's something you do every month. You can pick those repeating items. You can add notes. So items that Dr. Dodd needs for XYZ reason. And you can have it to where it will actually show up on the card. So when it says that, you'll see now where we added that item, it has that little descriptor in it. And you can fit in quite a bit of information in there. Probably want to keep them fairly brief for just being able to read, but you can add information here. Now, down here where it says checklist, this is where maybe there are just like little bitty steps in between. So maybe we need to say, double check that documents are signed. We can add that. And we can add kind of miniature steps within the larger task. I hope that makes sense. You can add those. You can also have those show on the card. So we've got the main task, and then we've got, we need her to double check that those are signed. And it looks like you can only show one or the other on the on either the descriptor or the checklist. So whichever suits your fancy. You can also add an attachment. So you can add any, I believe it's any Word document or a PDF or any type of file, or this one even says you can have a link to a URL. So maybe there's a specific website that y'all are turning these in. Maybe there's a form that y'all fill out for this and you just want to attach that form link. You can do that there. And then you can also add any comments. So maybe when somebody completes the task, they say it was completed by me, or other concerns maybe that they have. And then all you have to do, it all saves automatically, so you can X out. And so now, remember when I talked about how Outlook pings your to-do list? So anytime you get a task, if you actively use to do, and let's say you get a task inside of Microsoft Planner, it will also ping your to-do list saying, hey, you got a task, like you have this task in this team, and it will put it on your to-do list. And I believe it also sends you an email. So it'll immediately send you an email saying you just got assigned something. So it's really good about integrating all of those things together. So now we're going to get into the next part of it, which is, all right, Lindsey, we have all these buckets. Somebody just completed the task. Well, I'm not going to know if they completed the task or who completed the task unless I come in here and take a look. So like you would have to come in here actively and say, oh, look, this task was done and it was completed by me. It shows the person who checked it off. But that's okay. You would have to come and basically check this every once in a while, though. And some of y'all are like, that's a lot of extra steps. And I just want, and it's a long-term project, Lindsey, we're going to be doing this for months. I don't want to have to check every single time that somebody completes a task. So I want an email. I want an email telling me that so-and-so completed the task, and that's all I need, just so I don't have to continually check things. So we are going to discuss Power Automate. Now, for those of you who were at the administrative conference that was held earlier this year, you might have attended one of the presentations done by our IT representative, and they discussed a lot of different tools that Microsoft has. And one of the things that they described was Power Automate. And this was completely new to me at the same time. I had no idea what Power Automate was. But basically, Power Automate utilizes coding, like the very scary coding that you see on the screen, to create flows. Basically, these flows are, there's an action, I want it to do something else and produce a reaction. It's basically what a flow is. It's just the flow of operations. So for our purposes, we're wanting to create a flow that says, every time somebody completes a task in this planner, I want it to email me the information about that completed task. So it's going to look like a little bit of coding, and it's going to get a little bit scary, but I'm going to walk you through it. And I've even got written steps, which of course will be available to you to show you how y'all can do this. And it's one of those things where once you set it up, you can pretty much forget about it. You don't have to do a lot of maintenance on it. So we're going to start. I'm going to do the demo and then I'll go through kind of these steps at the same time. Again, this is going to be for people viewing afterwards to get that step-by-step on how to do it. So I'm going to switch to my web browser, which I believe is this one. There we go. All right. So for those of you also who never accessed any of your applications in SharePoint, right over here at the top left, it's this little multi-dot square. This will show you a lot of applications. And if you don't see your application here that you want to access, just click more. This is a bunch of all the different tools and things that we have access to. So we're going to go to Power Automate. Hello. Hello. Okay. And then, so this is the front page. It's going to give you a couple of suggestions and stuff, but we want to go to Create. So we're going to click over here on Create. Alrighty. And so they have a lot of pre-made templates for things you can do. Like this one says, you can follow up on a message, you can forward an email to a channel, you can notify when a planner attains status, you can do a lot of things. So what we're going to search for, we're going to search email when a task in planner is complete. Hopefully this will get it. Here we go. So this is a template. So the first thing it's going to do is it's going to ask you to verify your accounts. You'll probably just, you may, if you've not used these before, you may just have to sign in with your Agnet credentials, but that's just to verify that they're all connected. So since I'm all signed in, we're going to hit continue. Alrighty. So then it comes up with this window. So basically what this is showing the flow. Something happens in Planner, it's going to cause us to do a task inside of Outlook. So first thing you're going to do is select Group ID. And that's just basically which team you have your planner in. So you see this has all the teams that I'm in. And so that one was ELT support staff. The plan ID is just the group, the channel that the planner is in. So for us, we're going to pick the test planner. It's if there's no planner within a team, you won't see any option. So you have to create the planner first. So now that we've got that, we're going to go down here and we're going to specify who we want to send the email to. So let's say I'm the only one and I want to know when somebody creates a task or finishes a task. So you can search for all the suggested people. You can have multiple people if you want as well. All righty. So now we get down here. So this is what the email would look like. It basically would be a one-line text that says task titled, the title of the planner task, was completed by user ID and was completed on date and time. So that would work fine. The problem is that completed by user ID will just give you a jumble of letters and numbers, which is not really useful. It's not useful in our context. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit the flow to make it where we're going to change that to say, and I just saw somebody say, can we make it bigger? We can absolutely make it bigger. Is that a little bit better? Good. Hopefully y'all can see that. Okay, so again, good. So again, we're going to be changing this completed by status. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this ID part. Now, if you try to put anything else in this, it gives you other options of things to put in, but none of these are really useful. They're not going to be what we need. We really just want the name of the person who completed the task. So we're going to click in between where this plus sign is, and we're going to insert an action. We're going to add an action. Okay. And then this is where the step-by-step instructions are going to be helpful. We're going to search for get user profile V2. Alrighty. And we're going to click the first one we see, just get user profile V2. Alrighty. And then when we go to user principal or name, we're going to create an expression. In coding terms, an expression is just basically a line that tells the computer what to do. That's what coding is. It's just this line. It has, I want this to happen on the computer and I want it to look like this and I want to do this, enter, the computer does it. It's the easiest way I can explain it. In that PowerPoint, and I'm actually going to end this slideshow so I can have access to it, we're going to copy and paste this line of text. So, oh, dang it. Well, we're just going to exit out of that so I can have access to it. There we go. So we're going to copy. And then we're going to get back to that window. And then in here, see, this is FX. I think some of y'all know this is an expression. It might be a useful term, but regardless, we're just going to paste that in there. And my paste didn't work. Oh, there it goes. So now that we have that code in there, hopefully they can cut out all that dead air. We are going to select, we're going to, oh yeah, that's right. So we clicked OK. So now it has it all loaded in here. All right. We're going to go back to our email. And so now when we click here by completed email or completed by, now we can see things like we can see about me, their business phone numbers. This is all pulled from Microsoft 365. So if it's in your Outlook, if you can see this information, it's in the 365. We want display name. So we're going to click display name. All right. So now we know that when a task is completed, this is going to convert the data so that in our email, it says this task was completed by this person on this date. So now that we're done with that, we're going to hit save. All right. Our flow is ready to go. They always recommend you test it. You can test it by clicking this little to flask button. And we can manually test it. So we're going to go into Planner to actually trigger the test. So let me go back to my team. So we're going to add a task, testing flow. And then we're going to click complete.
And I don't know if there's a way to make that bigger, Lindsay, too.
Oh, let's see if we can do that. Yeah. Just get a little bit bigger. There we go. So here, over here where it says task, we're just going to click right next to the name. We can even do it again. Testing, add task, and then we're going to hit complete. Alrighty, so now, eventually in my email inbox, we should be able to see, I should get an email that says this task is complete. I don't know where my email went though. It doesn't want to show up on my screen. We'll just reload it, that's fine. Alrighty. Planner question, you might have said this, but I use Planner for only a specific channel instead of the whole team. Yes, add to general, and when I try to add it within a channel. So I was actually able to add a planner within this channel. Now, this channel allows everybody to have access to it. So it might just be that the channel might have restrictions, but I would probably recommend having somebody look into that in IT as to why there's a restriction there. Because this was a separate, this wasn't the general channel. This was just a whole nother channel
So
outside of
I
general.
just talk, because there are two kinds of channels. There's one that is more restricted and one that's open to anybody, right? Within
Yes.
our agency.
Yes. So like if I wanted to make this channel completely private, I'm trying to remember how to do this, but let me see. You would be able to lock it. So I don't know if I can actually do that from here. I might have to just add a channel. So here, so yes. So privacy is standard. if it's private, only specific team members may have access. So let me actually test that theory, Lindsey, which is a fantastic name. And I will get back with you on that answer because I have a feeling it should work. I don't understand why it wouldn't, but let me test that theory and get back with you.
So going back to shutting off notifications, I don't think you can shut off for one specific team. She may be able to shut it off for any notifications. She'd have to turn her notifications off totally, right?
I believe so. Let's look at my settings. So notifications, all activity, custom, meeting calls, tasks by planner and to do. So you can actually shut off a lot of different ones. It looks like there's a bunch of different types. You can basically make it to where maybe it only shows in your feed or off, but I don't believe that I can turn it off to where it would be just for a specific channel, as far as I'm aware. Alrighty, so let's go back to our planner. And actually, I'm going to check on this. So let's go ahead and see if this task got done. So we're back in planner, or sorry, we're back in Power Automate. We're going to go ahead and refresh this to see if I have any runs. And basically a run is just, it did a task or it did a flow. It did one of the things to where it changed it. So let me see if I can do this one more time. I'm going to re-pop this to see if we can get the flow to work. It'd be really cool if it did. But basically what will happen is when the flow works, you'll get an email and the email will look exactly like the flow described. I just wish I could get it to run for y'all. Nope, that's not going to work either. Okay. Alrighty. The 3 ellipses give you that option. Flow checker. Anyways, okay. So let's go ahead and move on then. So again, when we get this recording done, you're going to have all of these steps in here. This just tells you everything from start to finish. And then we can move, then that way you will be able to set it up for yourself. So, okay, there's my contact information. Let's go ahead and move forward with some more questions. Will you re-show how to go to your settings? We normally assign tasks during office conference, so we are all together and do not need emails. Okay, so in that case, you would just skip the whole Power Automate thing. If you're going to be operating in a team and y'all are frequent checkers of it, you're just going to skip the whole Power Automate thing, and you are just going to create the tasks. So are you wanting to know how to show your settings within Planner specifically just for like what the task looks like? Or I might need more clarification on that question.
Actually, what you just demonstrated where you went to your settings and showed how to not get email notification if you're assigned a task, I just missed how you got to your settings to shut off that option.
Oh, okay. So I'm not sure how to make it not send you an email. That's my thing. The only thing, so these 3 ellipses right by my profile picture, then settings, and then we're going to go to notifications. And then we're going to scroll down to tasks by planner and to do. All it says for the options are banner and feed, only show and feed are off. And the banner and feed are really applicable to the sidebar over here of your planner. Because like you see, if somebody typed in chat, it popped up a notification. It might also pop into your feed of like activity. I think this is what's considered your feed. So I don't know how to make it not send you an email. All right, so update, it looks like private channels are not letting plans be made a standard test channel as public with the team and had no issues adding. Okay, so that's a good thing to note. it's very strange that that's an option, but that's also a good thing to note. So it has to be a public channel. It cannot be a private channel. But that is definitely good to know. Are there any other questions that anybody had about Planner, about To Do, about Power Automate? I know we went through a lot with Power Automate. I know that might be a tricky one. So feel free, if you have any issues with it, to contact me. I'm more than happy to help. I just think it's going to be a very useful tool for y'all helping maintain your planners without having to be constantly hopping in and out of them. That would be a good workaround, Brittany. So Brittany was saying that you can actually make an Outlook folder for that email notification and then create a rule for Outlook to automatically move those emails. And for those of you who may not know, rules are basically, it's like Power Automate for your Outlook folder. Let me see if I can get this window. Give me all my commands. So like, let's say I didn't want this Office Depot email. You can create a rule. So assign policy, or no, it's not. No, rules. Here we go. Rules, create a rule. And we can say, when I get an email from Office Depot, do the following. We can say display a new sound alert. We can move that item to random conversations. And then you click OK. And then the rules created and any future emails will be moved to that category. So that's a great workaround if you just don't want to constantly be seeing those emails.
Yeah, I never knew about rules. So you just showed me something I didn't even know I could do in Outlook.
Not one I typically use because all emails are important to me, but I can understand if you get like a lot of spam or you're getting a lot of notifications on something, you might want it to just auto sort those emails into a specific email bucket. So that might be good for somebody else as well to maintain those. I believe that's it then. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. My phone's always open. Specifically, if you want help with any of like the tech issues or you want me to look at your screen, please call me through Teams if you can. It's much easier for me to see your screen and for you to share it so that way I can see exactly what we're doing to work through it. I really appreciate everybody being here. Thank you so much for coming to these Tech Tuesdays. Again, if you have any suggestions for the future, please let I or Dr. Hale know. We really love putting these on for y'all, giving y'all different access to tools and things you didn't know about, things to just make your job a little bit easier or a little bit more efficient.